Blacksmiths, stand up. Good morning. It's another day. It's another beautiful day in the Bronze Room. We're starting the week off hot, real hot. Today is December the 5th, and I'm your host, Big Bro Chris. I'm being joined by my lovely co-host, Miss Joy.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Top of the morning to my
Good morning.
blacksmiths. I hope y'all are doing good. I hope that you're feeling vibrant. You're thriving this morning. I hope you're feeling blessed. I got my antioxidant with
There it
me,
is.
soothe these bags and, take
I
me
love
age
that.
backwards.
I love that. I love that. Here in the Bronze Room, we are all about health. What's in your shake, Miss Joy?
It is carrot juice,
Okay.
peach juice,
Okay.
green tea extract. I would have
Yes.
loved to actually juice this myself. I used to actually juice a lot. I'm big
Mhm.
on juicing.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get my morning, get some orange in my body. This wakes you up. This is good for your skin, your eyes, your hair. And it's good to have this kind of like it has green tea extract versus like coffee. I'm trying to, you know,
Try to step away
have
from
my caffeine
from
in
coffee
healthy
a little bit.
doses.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Regulate the hormones in the body correctly. So, yeah.
That's good. I love it. One of these episodes
Chris.
soon, we're gonna have to pave out like a segment each episode for health. I know
Right.
we've
Because
talked
folks
about
don't
the
even know
episode.
me and you is like
Yeah,
with
we
it.
gurus out here.
Yeah. Really.
Yeah. So yeah, blacksmiths, be on the lookout for that coming soon. Bronze Room health segment. But yeah, let's
On
get into on this day today.
this
So
day.
on this day, December 5th, back in time, way
Mm,
back in
mm,
1848,
mm,
the president at the time, James Polk, announced to the whole country that gold had been discovered
mm.
in California. This prompted a mad rush of people from the East and the Midwest to California to come out and harvest some of that gold. I don't even know if you can harvest gold, but to dig up some of that gold and pocket it so that they can enrich themselves, their communities, etc. And that would really take place in 1949. I'm sorry,
Mm.
1849, which is why my favorite team of all time, the
Oh
San
my
Francisco 49ers, that's why they have that name. That's why, because
Wow.
California was booming in 49.
The California
1849,
Gold Rush.
California
That's
Gold
what that was
Rush.
known as. Wow. I read about that in textbooks. I'm so old.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
read about it.
I wouldn't doubt that they're still reading about it. I think it's fifth grade or fourth grade when we started learning about state history, and so I'm sure the kids these days are still learning about that.
I wonder if they dug up all the gold. Like, now I'm sure you live in Cali, like a lot of people they sell gold, like they're big on like selling gold. My mom had an ex and she can wait to dump that nigga because she was like, this man always want to sell gold. He always want to sell gold. They have all the pawn shops and you hear so much about gold now. It's interesting that we had that gold rush, but now you hear people when I go out in LA, people are like, keep your gold or do you have any gold? It's
Yep,
crazy how it's still valued so much. So I just wonder, are there
100%.
any parts of Cali that still have it for one, so we can go
You
and
know
dig
that
it?
that's a great question.
Yeah.
Um, I, to my knowledge, which is very rudimentary on this subject,
Hmm.
um, I want to say that as far as this region, not just the state, but this region, Nevada is where a lot of the gold is dug up. Yeah, a lot of refineries and gold companies. I believe they're based in Nevada. So who
That's
knows how much of it is
sweet.
left to dig up, but that's where they're spending a lot of their effort is in Nevada
I
digging up.
got my necklaces in Nevada. That's funny. I got my chains. I mean, yeah, well, the plate from LA. But yeah, that's just interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was in the eight. That's good to know.
Yeah,
Okay.
and on the subject of the gold, if you do own gold, I am not a financial advisor, but I would advise as
Tell
your
us
big
advice.
as your big bro, I'd advise you to hold on to it because you know it's a appreciating material. You know
Mm,
what I mean? So over
mm.
time, that will appreciate, especially considering the inflation that the country and the globe is going under right
Ooh,
now. You know what I mean? So hold on to anything. I'm talking about
assets,
anything.
shit, even silver. Assets are important right now.
Assets are very important. Hold on
Yes.
to them. Hold on to your real
Yeah.
estate. Hold on to your metals. Hold on to your
Yeah, a little
jewelry.
piece of land, even if
You
it's
know?
enough just to stand up on, hold on
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
But
Because
yeah, do you have any? Well, let me not ask you that on.
oh no, I don't
Do
know.
you have any
No.
assets, Chris, so I can find where you live and
My the biggest goal that I hold is right here. It's my
oh, your
heart. You
hearts.
know, and I'm holding on
This
to that.
man, you
I'm
know
holding
what?
on to that.
You know what?
Nope.
You know what, Chris?
A couple people tried to take it, but they can't. They can't have my heart.
Because you got a golden heart. Nah, they're not taking that. Wow, that was this man. All right, Chris.
But yeah, I mean, you know,
Okay.
appreciating value is
Yeah.
something that you want to invest in. Blacksmiths out there, I'm sure you guys already know that. But yeah, specifically with gold, because the country, you know, our Federal Reserve um, here in America, they are stockpiling gold over the past
Mm,
couple of months from a story that I just read not too long ago.
really?
So if the government is stockpiling gold at a higher rate than we've done over the past couple of decades, it's for a reason. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, who knows what that reason is, but I
The
would assume
opponent.
because they anticipated appreciating even more. So, you know,
Mm.
and to that point, this is the last thing I'll say on it. Russia and China in particular have been stockpiling for a number of years as well.
Oh yeah, they have reserves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like massive. So,
yeah.
you know, that's why China's got his hands in Africa so much because they probably robbing all the gold right as we speak. But
Oh,
that's
the
another
gold, the
subject.
cobalt. I want to talk about that too one day. Cobalt, which is in our cell phones. You
Yeah,
know,
right,
they've
right.
killed millions of African people, and they are still are young African children in the Congo for cobalt, which is what we use in the States for our cell phones, our laptops, our everything
Yeah.
in order to make these electronics work. I mean, and it's like it sucks we're doing this show on devices that use these things, but at least we're using our platform to bring awareness to these type of things, these assets, these resources, such as gold. Shit, who knows? It was probably some black people sitting up on some gold before that shit, before the gold rush. They probably stampeded some black people getting to the damn gold.
Well, if you know the nation's history like me and Miss Joy do, it's not beyond the realm of comprehension. Uh, and I'm sure some
I mean,
stories
let me not make up
sooner
no
or
shit,
later
but
will, you know, we'll see.
yeah.
But also on this day, because there were several things that happened on this day in history. Uh, the Prohibition period ended on this day in December 5th, 1933. And
Mm,
the 21st Amendment was ratified in order to do so.
okay.
So in the 1920s, they got rid of alcohol. They got rid of it.
They
I
said
don't
y'all
know.
niggas is driving drunk. Y'all
Right.
over here messing with your neighbor's wife. You ain't picking your kids up from school the next day.
They put us all on timeout. They put us all on timeout. But you know, the nation in the 1920s had a period of economic boom.
Mm,
I would credit that mainly to the Industrial Revolution, which started, you know, a decade or two before the
mm.
1920s, but it really was in its full groove at that point by the 1920s, and especially with people like the Rockefellers, the Fords coming in with these huge corporations that would take advantage of that economic cycle. So, but in 1933, FDR decided, hey, this isn't doing anything really productive for our nation, so he cut it back. And as a result, we now have the ability to drink as much as you want. Drink to your fill.
It's
You
kind
know,
of.
have your fill.
I feel like they need to be a little bit stricter with alcohol laws. If you ask me, I'm
Okay,
like,
like
bro, if you hear being strict about drugs like weed and mushrooms, those won't make you do shit the way alcohol will.
that's a very
You
good
know what
point.
I mean? I
That's a
just
very
feel like it does. If they at one point they had that prohibition, I can understand. And listen, liquor back then tastes straight like fucking rubbing alcohol. That shit
probably
burnt the esophagus. So who knows? People probably had holes in their esophagus back then with the kind of liquor that they had now in the
all types of
fermentation
ulcers and
process.
stuff.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and they use alcohol to treat everything. Sore
Yeah,
eye,
right,
pour
right, right, right,
brandy in it.
right. Huh,
Gun wound, pour brandy in it.
huh. That and cocaine.
Broken heart, gin.
That and
Oh,
cocaine.
you know what? My mom told me she loved being a historian, even when she wasn't there. She's like they used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola.
Yep, that's why. That's
Real
why it's
cocaine. I
called
was like, where
Coca-Cola.
was I? No, I'm just playing. I'm not, I would never, I have never done that, kids. That
Yeah,
drug.
and don't you do it either, kids out
Seriously.
there. Don't
Don't,
do it.
because drugs fuck up your brain and they fuck up your real juice, to be honest with you. You are the juice.
That's right.
Um,
That's right. But yeah,
but
cocaine was
wow.
used widely to cure ailments,
Well,
because
it
it
is,
is,
it comes from
it's
a
a
plant.
drug.
Yeah.
It's a it is a pharmaceutical. It can be used for pharmaceutical purposes, and
Mm.
they were especially doing it back then on a more widely available scale.
Right. On a more holistic, back then people used things more holistically because we didn't have so many corporations
Right.
to take things, to refine them, to process them. That's how I know that that liquor they was drinking, they had that potato sitting in the window for like 45, 50 days. Let that shit stink. It was all kinds of sprouts.
Damn,
Yeah.
it sounded like Pruno to me,
I
or
mean,
the
I mean,
the
wait, you ain't
method to
never had
making Pruno.
Pruno. How you know about that?
I don't know
Okay,
about it. I don't know about it individually or personally, but I know
clear
people
the
that
air,
do.
Chris.
I know some people that
Yeah.
know some people.
I wonder what it tastes like though, because
I,
everybody,
I don't. I guarantee you it can't taste good. They make it in toilet bowls. Yeah, that's they mix it up in the toilet bowl in their cells.
oh, never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
No, it's okay.
I want no parts of that.
I
No,
just go
no
to
thank you. Go
mm,
on down to the corner
Total
store.
Wine and
You know.
I just get that Jack Daniels. I don't even drink like that though, because liquor is
Well,
putrid to me.
like you were just saying, yeah, liquor is or alcohol is a drug. Don't let the availability of it get it twisted. You know what I mean?
Thank you
Like
for saying that, because that shit
just
is
because it's legal,
available.
don't mean that it's better than cocaine, for instance. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Like
you know what?
it's
Really?
not, and
Really?
that goes on to a larger conversation about the
Yeah.
legality of things and uh, it becoming more commonly or just being more accepted,
Yeah.
morally speaking. But it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily just because it's legal don't mean it's right. You feel me?
Exactly.
So
That's what like damn near everything in this world. We gonna have to get it. You know what? We need a segment. Just because it's legal, don't make it right. Don't make it right. And
right.
talk about all that shit. Blacksmiths, throw us out some ideas. What do you think? What is legal but not right to you? Let us know. Give us some feedback.
All right, right. And as you know, you can contact us if you need to at by going to our website. It's tbrpodcast.com. And if you want to
Yes.
follow us on social media, you can find the links to those pages on there as well. But yeah, you know what? And that reminds me, I'm so rude. I take full responsibility. LGZ, where you at, brother? Why don't you introduce yourself to people?
LGZ in the
Yo,
heezy.
yo. What's up,
In
dog?
the heezy.
Y'all?
Hey.
How you doing, brother? I apologize for not introducing you. That's my fault.
All
I'll take
good.
the L on that.
Hey,
I'll take the L.
it's good to be back, yo. That's all I'm gonna say. and I'm glad that we back. You know, fresh Monday. Y'all looking good.
I appreciate
Okay.
you. Man. Appreciate
Man,
you. Likewise.
extra glow on them
You
on
know,
Wednesdays today.
the Trinity in the house.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
But
like what y'all talking about, I wanted to say something about that
Yeah.
point on the gold. It was real interesting what you had already said, but I think that a big why China has done so much work in Africa and why they just started doing all these long-term contracts with them is because of those resources, that cobalt, that gold over there.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
Yeah, a lot of things
I read
that are resources.
I read a book in college called The Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
And
read that book?
Yeah, it's a
That shit
great
deep, bro.
read.
That shit deep.
Great read. It really turns you. I mean, you know, people call me a conspiracist now, but you can blame that book because it just lays out the game plan or the blueprint to how we get down internationally in terms of going into a country and raping them of their resources. You know what I mean? You go in with a contract like, hey, Nigeria, or let's say Zimbabwe, or let's say Mozambique, I'm gonna build you a whole bunch of infrastructure. I'm gonna build you an airport. I'm gonna build you some schools or whatever, and you know, just pay us back over time. They draft these contracts knowing that with the interest accumulated and everything, that these countries will never truly be able to pay them back. So that's how they finagle them out of there. Okay, well, you can't pay me back in money. Well, let me get that gold mine over there. Let me get that diamond mine over there. You know, you can pay me back through that. And you know, it's the same process over and over again.
And they do it internally here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's actually good to. I'm gonna actually check out that book. Maybe our blacksmiths can check that out too, for those who actually want to expand themselves economically. What was the book called again?
Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Damn.
I'll send it to you, Joy, on Audible. They got it on audio.
Please.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah.
Wow. Chris, because also on top of that, what I remember was, if they don't take the resource, then they will inject their politics, their democracy onto that country.
Which is exactly what we do. I don't know about China, but that's exactly what we do as far as democracy and pushing the American political system internationally.
Wow.
That's what we did in Afghanistan. We saw how well that worked out. I'm speaking facetiously, of course, because it didn't work out well at all.
It didn't. That shit pisses me off, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it completely destabilizes the nation. And so it eventually gets put on the same trajectory as a country like Haiti, where it's in total disarray with no end in sight, with no end of the
right, like they would do to Black people. They're trying to do 100%. The same thing that they've done to us with everybody else. You want to take, because once you take a cultural identity from a people, where do they feel for help? Where do they go to? Once you take that cultural identity, they don't have nothing to stand on. Your identity, where you know where you come from, what you have that represents you, that's how you're able to stand on that support. But if you don't have that, then you're running around lost, and you will run to the enemy for safety. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Same play, different day.
This is why we as a culture got to build our aspects. We got to build our own shit. I was just telling Mo last night, I said, we need to build defense, Chris, like you always say. I said, we need our own military. That's another conversation. But you have to have a way to defend yourself, to protect what you do have. And unfortunately, these things get finesse through these economics, like you were saying. So this is another way that we need to put up our defense, our military. We need to protect our assets by any means possible, any means necessary.
Yeah, and I mean it just goes to that age old adage of like doing a deal with the devil. You know what I mean, like I don't care how good the deal sounds, you don't do business with the devil. You know what I mean? And so to countries abroad outside the States,
They're probably not thinking that the U.S. is going to be some dishonest ass wipes.
I don't know why. I mean, history is very cyclical.
But you know, when you're desperate, if you're in a need
Yeah.
for resources, maybe if your people need water,
Mhm.
basic things that we take for granted.
Yeah.
Well, I don't take wiping my ass for granted and drinking it. I don't, but you know, like those little things, we skip over those things. And there's places where a whole family got one cell phone. You know what I'm saying? And so,
No cell phone.
huh?
No cell phone. Someplace.
No
Yeah,
cell phone.
right. They going on
Right.
landline still.
So I think that they make that exchange for their people, you know, and the biggest currency of it all is us as people. We energetic currency is the most valuable currency. So, you know, when I say take cultural identity, taking the identity of people, making them eat the food, changing their whole DNA, changing their whole energetic makeup to conform to your standards as another nation. You know what I mean? And making these people work for you indirectly, whether they're doing it through their government, you know, working. So it's just, yeah, it's that's interesting. And things like the gold rush, those type of events, they mark that type of thing. So yeah, and wow,
Yeah.
it goes deep.
It goes real deep. But that's what we do here on the Bronze Room. We want to
It goes deep.
go into these subjects and go where other people tend not to go.
Right.
I mean, that's where the real meat is.
Exactly. Okay. That's where the tenderloin is falling off the bone.
Right. So a couple of other things that happened on this day that I just want to go over real quick. Little Richard was born today, December 5th, 1932. I mean, if we want to talk about pioneers, you know, I mean, that's a major pioneer in the rock and roll genre. You know what I mean? Major. And so, and one other important thing that happened on this day in history, 2013, Nelson Mandela was he wasn't laid to rest, but he died. He passed.
Aww.
He passed from this world to the next.
Wow.
In 2013, and you know, pioneers. I mean, we got a whole army's worth of pioneers, but this is definitely another strong bronze man that eventually went on to free a whole nation, essentially, of the apartheid in South Africa.
Yeah.
So we give him his flowers today.
Yes.
Yeah. So
him and his wife, they let me tell you, they made headway.
Yeah, what was her name? Winnie,
yeah, they made headway, and they did not back. You always say you got a strong woman by your side, you could do things.
Right.
Yeah. Because didn't she go to jail too? She went.
I'm not sure.
I think she was imprisoned.
Was she?
Well.
Not as long as he was.
Huh?
Yeah, he was in there for decades.
Not as long as he was.
Ain't that crazy? You fight for what you believe in, and you stand. I mean,
yeah, it's
that's standing for what you believe in. But those type of things make a difference. These people are so courageous. You don't forget people like this. Hell, even Little Richard. You know what I'm saying? Making headway, because we all hear people talk about music, and when you hear about rock and roll, who do we conditionally think of?
Who do you associate with?
Yeah, who do you associate it with? But who the fuck was rocking out? That man was a rock star.
He was. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on.
In every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
both of them pioneers, for sure. Mm-hmm. And interestingly enough, you bring up rock and roll. The term rock and roll was created by Ike Turner, another bronze musician.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
it wasn't even called rock and roll when Little Richard started that style.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, Ike Turner is
another iconic one. I'm sorry.
He's an icon. You know,
he can't take away the man's talents. I won't. He did wrong.
He did. Yeah.
But that man.
But it's interesting though, because I think that movie it just depicted one angle of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing I want to
angle associated with him. You know, you can find bad things in anybody. You know, things that we like about somebody. Even the most iconic people that we respect. You know, there's probably to all of us. And that movie, interestingly enough, is the only movie that we as as a society go to when that man's name is brought up, not for
Yeah.
anything else.
Yep.
And I think that I'm not putting on a conspiracy hat, but I think that there's good reason for that. You know what I mean? Partially, Tina Turner is somebody who, for the longest, who recently actually came out and said that she was not making any money off of her records because she didn't own them, which is something that we typically get caught up in, especially back in the day. That was like one of the plays, right? And she was not making that much money off. She didn't own her music, but she was still in good business, I guess, with people. And wouldn't surprise me if the same people that got her to sign her masters away were responsible for putting those things in that film. They could just be like, look, you give us your masters, we'll make a movie about you. And then we'll say the guy who helped you really do it is a monster. So he'll never make another dime. Because that dude is fucking smart. You know what I mean?
I mean, very much so possible. I could actually see that being the case. You don't ever see another movie that went out that tells his side. I've seen him tell his side in an interview, and I'm like, oh yeah, that nigga did lay hands on her. But it doesn't take away that there was something extraordinary that he brought to that, the name, even the name, you know what I'm saying? I do feel like he should be acknowledged for his talents. I don't agree with anybody laying their hands on anyone, but women do it to men too. We don't hear about it as often. And there are women walking around getting their flowers. Who know who beating who ass? What favorite actress we like who's over there beating her man? You know,
Beyonce can dance, and she could probably smack the shit out of somebody too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
One time, you think she might not? I make more money.
We got different sides. Yeah, you're right. So I definitely think he should. I mean, hell, we'll throw Ike Turner in there, not for the other things, but at least he definitely made a mark with that rock and roll sound. He did, you know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy, the inventions. I'm just amazed every day by the things that we do, especially with music. Just a side note, I don't want to digress too much, but even finding out that one of Elvis's famous moves that he did was taken from a popular dance that Black women did in the 1920s. So he literally took the dance.
What dance move was that?
It's like his famous dance where he's like moving his arms kind of like side to side. It's kind of, I can't really do the dance, but well, I could probably do it if I tried, but I'm going to have to send you the video, but it's a popular, his little popular dance moves where he's swinging his arms, and literally they show women from the 1920s doing the dance. They show the Black woman who created the dance. And I'm like, wow, if we didn't have this kind of footage, we would be marking all kinds of people as the first to do this when we did it way before.
Yeah. We trendsetters out here. That should be no surprise to anybody. And we'll say that until everybody acknowledges it. Damn it, I'll say it every episode. We trendsetters out here. We are pioneers. Blacksmiths stand up. That's what we do.
Stand up.
That's what we do. So yeah.
Some juicy on this day. That was juicy.
Yeah, it was. Miss Joy, you had an event that you want to talk about.
Yes. So yes, Blacksmiths, I wanted to share something that I further looked into. I think it's important that we know certain things, especially the ones that fail to be covered in textbooks. I wanted to talk about the massacre of Thiaroye. I hope I said that correctly. It's spelled Thiroye. This was a massacre. They try not to call it a massacre. They try to say it was like a battle or a fight, but it was a massacre of West African soldiers, Senegalese men who had fought in World War II, also known as the Fall of France. So just to give you an idea, the turn of events happened when pretty much Germany invaded France, and then France declared war on Germany shortly after Belgium and Poland were invaded. France had declared war after those invasions. They had rounded up about 120 soldiers to go and fight in this war. Of those soldiers, as we know, many of these people were Black men. They were West African men who were fighting in these wars. And of that, between 1,000 and 1,500 of these men were actually captured as prisoners of war. Black men were between 1,000 and 1,500. Now, here's where it gets deep. We already know that we've always been used. Historically, our people have been used to fight other people's battles, other people's wars, while we have been left in the cold, while we have been treated like nothing less than anything less than human. So pretty much they took these prisoners of war. They separated the white prisoners of war from these African prisoners of war. They left the black prisoners of war, the ones that they collected. They killed quite a few of them. I believe that's the number that they killed of the ones they did collect. They killed between 1,000 and 1,500, but let's just say 1,500 because we know they weren't trying to spare us out of those that they collected. But not only that, the ones that, while these men were in war, sorry, y'all, so much, while they were in war, they did not get their intermediate benefits. They only had an advance before they started the war, and it wasn't even a complete advance. It was just enough to get them in there to do whatever they had to do. When these men left the war, they were full of resentment. They were angry. They felt devalued. And I'm speaking on their behalf because these men were starting to rebel after they had become prisoners of war because they weren't in good living conditions. They didn't get any benefits when they left the war. Now, let's keep in mind that, some of these men were wounded. These men probably had mental issues going on because of the things that they experienced, they seen while they were in war. That they were treated badly. They didn't get their benefits then. They didn't get their civilian clothes like their white counterparts did when they left. They didn't get their civilian benefits to be able to walk amongst regular civilians. Not only that, these men were stationed in this camp in France without any of these things, pretty much real prisoners. While these men who, LJ, we talked about this before, the men who were stationed in Germany were treated like kings. They were treated like celebrities. They got their benefits. They got meals. They got to be amongst the commoners and actually be in this light like they really did something, even though they were prisoners of war. There was controversy, questions about, why were these men separated? How come they left these West African soldiers in France and they left these other men in Germany? They also did not want these West African men mingling with the German women. They didn't want any interbreeding, interracial relationships. So this is another reason why they separated these men, didn't give them their benefits. Long story short, these men they were rebelling. They were upset. They were coming together. They were thinking about a way. And when I say rebelling, I mean they were thinking of a way that they could come together and really stand up and get their benefits. If you feel like something's not going right in the workplace, or your boss is not hearing you, or your manager is not listening to what you're trying to say about the company, you're going to take other means. Okay, well, then I'm not going to do this. Okay, well, if you guys are doing this, then we're going to go do our own thing. Screw you. Kind of like that type of rebellion. And I'm pretty sure amongst other things, because there is a film by a West African man who actually the film is just about this battle or this massacre. Anyway, long story short, where this name comes from is that these men, they're going back to West Africa. I really wish I could think of the word that they call it, repatriate
Yep.
them.
Yep.
That's what they were doing. So they were going to go back, and on their way back to it, they back to traveling back to their land. They ended up at this camp. They were staying at this camp, Tia Roy. I hope I said it right. And this is where these men were massacred. So they're here, and things are steaming up. They're boiling. They're not liking these conditions. I mean, just imagine you've been in a war for how many years? 3, 4, 5 years maybe, and you don't have any clothes to wear. You're not being taken care of medically. You're getting the lowest of the low. You're probably eating scum for food. You fought in a war with people, and your counterparts are living their best life as celebrities in another fucking place. So this is what these men were doing, fighting for their benefits, just like any worker would. Long story short, it's supposedly one gunshot let off, another one let off. They're saying that the initiators were these West African men. Could you be mad if these soldiers did it? These were men who fought in the war. Could you be mad if they did initiate it? But supposedly they initiated. Long story short, the French government killed all these men on the camp. Now, they're saying that it was between 35 and 300 men. I don't know how you just say 35 between 300. It was 300. They killed these men, not all of them. There were survivors, but it was pretty much like shit went up. So basically, the French government didn't want to give these men their benefits, so they murdered them. Let's just call it what it was. And the men who did survive were tried. I know from what I read, 34 of these veterans were tried. They were pardoned by the French government, but they were never exonerated. So even after all of this, after the French government killed these people, had the nerve to pardon them, but didn't exonerate them. So those men didn't end up getting benefits as veterans, nor did their widows, because they weren't exonerated. They basically fought in the war as slaves.
Yeah, essentially.
It.
Essentially, man, it's like most people enter the armed forces, at least here. I don't know how it was in France or back in the 1940s. But most people here enter the armed forces in order to get compensation for their effort and their work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could attribute some of that enrollment. You can attribute that to patriotism. But in large part, I would argue that if the only thing that you got was a notch under your belt for patriotism and you did not get compensated, about probably half or more of the soldiers who fight in the armed forces would not fight in the armed forces. You do it to get compensated so that you can take care of yourself and you can take care of your family. These men that we're talking about in this massacre back in 1944 were not compensated for that. And they helped to take out one of the most evil forces in the modern world. They took out Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for highlighting that. Yeah,
they or at least they put forth efforts to do it. They got captured and or whatever, but they were a part of the effort to dethrone Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. And so we've covered this before, but like Western countries, particularly America, I know we're talking about France in this case, but Western countries, generally speaking, and I can't even speak generally. I'm talking about America. We do not treat our veterans. We don't treat our veterans well, not as well as they should be treated for having put forth the sacrifice of their lives or their well-being, their health, etc. And this is just another case of that. 70 years ago, 80 years ago,
December 1st. Yeah.
December 1st, 1944 was when this massacre occurred, and all they wanted was just compensation. A man is worth his work. You know what I mean? His skill set.
But you can't even give them clothes, demobilization clothes to wear civilian clothes. They gave them a whole civilian starter pack, basically, to go back out into the world. You want these men to walk out in their battle clothes, wounded? They treated them like prisoners. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was crying when I was like researching this, because I'm like, I can't even imagine how these men felt. They probably missed their families, wounded, want to talk to them, looking like crap. Some of them probably a lot of them probably had things going on in their mind and just could not even understand or fathom. We didn't have diagnosis of mental disorders and the assistance that we have now. Niggas who went crazy, they was just killing them like rabid dogs. I mean, I hate to say that like that.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And so, this was a great injustice that was that took place on this day.
Not in the French textbooks, by the way. Just had to throw that out there because I was like, damn, y'all threw World War II up in there, but didn't throw that up in there.
Yeah, given any opportunity, they will brush stuff under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Especially if it does not look well upon them. You know what I mean? If it doesn't serve their image, their squeaky clean image that they would like to have. I think it's particularly ironic that this happened in a French colony when France is the home and the pioneers of democracy and rebellion. If you go deep into French history, like they were they're known for rebelling against their governments if the government wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so it's no surprise that Haiti, which was a French colony, ended up rebelling and gaining their independence. And that was taking place in this colony that is now Senegal. But back then it was just called French West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But these soldiers were rebelling against what they saw as a tyrannical force. You know what I mean? And that's something that I salute them to, because if you're not being treated right, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. But unfortunately they saw that squeaky wheel as a threat, and they took him out. And I'm glad that we're bringing this up and allowing it to be remembered, and allowing them to live on in our memory.
I agree. Like I'm happy that I embarked on this, and that just to have the privilege of speaking of these men, just letting that live on, not to remember the deaths, but to remember that these men did fight for something, and they stood up, you know what I mean? Not only for themselves, but they stood up for these people that didn't even give a damn. We are always over here cleaning up everybody else's shit.
Right.
But blessings to these men, to their families, to their grandchildren, whoever lives on, because they have family. I mean, this was just in 1944. So it's people that's 40 and 50, who's their family 30, what I'm saying? These are young people who still live on, who know this story of their great grandpa or their great great grandpa or their uncle. So it's just taking the time to acknowledge this day.
I'm glad
the massacre of Tia Ra.
Yeah, I'm glad that we did. I'm definitely glad that we did. With the topic that I want to bring up for today's podcast, I want to shed some light on a very acclaimed, a very famous coach in the historically Black college university circuit, football circuit, that is. And that's Deion Sanders. Primetime himself was the coach of Jackson State for the past 3 seasons. And in those past 3 seasons, he's brought them to the national stage in terms of headlines, in terms of prominence. They just won the SWAC championship, and they are headed to a bowl game to face an opponent in that circuit as well. And as a result of all of his success, he was just hired at Colorado, the University of Colorado, to be the head coach of the Buffaloes next season. Now, this is a great accomplishment. Everything that he's done for Jackson State and everything I'm sure that he's going to be doing at Colorado, but it's being met by a lot of criticism. A lot of people are criticizing him for leaving a historically Black college in order to work for a white college, I guess, if that's the name that can be tagged on to that university. And I want to bring that to the platform to discuss that with y'all, because in some regard, the criticism may be right or justified. because this is something that we see all the time in our communities, where it's a brain drain, which is just a general word for the draining of talent out of our community and into the integrated world of America at large. And so this is why we can't have nice things, because whenever we do, you know, we outsource it, or they outsource us and bring us into their fold. And so it makes it hard to build a strong community when your leaders are always, you know, shuffling out and into the greater, the bigger world, or the bigger picture, I suppose. So yeah, but how do y'all feel about that?
I was gonna ask you first. I want to know how you feel about it. What do you think about it?
I do think this is problematic if it is replicated. You know, if this happens times 1,000, then of course it's a problem. You know what I mean?
But what do you do as an individual to like as an individual? Do you think he can afford?
You
miss an opportunity? Do you think it's an opportunity that?
So prime time, Deion Sanders can afford to pass up on the opportunity if he chose to do that. He can afford it. He does. He's not hurting for money. He played in the NFL and the MLB for a number of seasons, a long time. He got a lot of money out of it, not only from that, but from the endorsements, from everything. You know what I mean? So he's not hurting for money. Even at Jackson State, he was making $300,000 a year, which I know compared to NFL money is peanuts. But he's not hurting for money. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could have afforded to pass up on this opportunity, but I like to think that in the greater scope, that this is a good thing that he's leaving to the University of Colorado, in my opinion, because it not only allows him to bring other bronze coaches into that university. You know, when a head coach gets hired, just like with any leadership position, you can bring in a whole new staff. You can bring in your own staff.
I didn't know that.
So that elevates probably there's probably going to be about 10 assistant coaches that come with them. That puts them on a higher level of playing and allows them to get more exposure and allows them the opportunity to possibly go on to other major college universities and become head coaches there. You know what I mean? As of right now in the FBS, which is half of it is the major college programs in the country. There's only 12 head bronze coaches of 131. And that comes in about 9.5% that we take up. Now, that number definitely needs to grow. And this is one way that it will. Primetime he's going to turn that program around. They will be top 25, I predict, in a number of years in a relatively short period of time. And with that spotlight, his assistant coaches are going to be able to get head coaches at head coaching positions at USC or Stanford or in Auburn or what have you. And so that number of 12 is going to rise. It's going to rise to 30 soon. You know what I mean? And even that's not going to be enough. We want to get that to 50. We want to get that to 60, specifically because if 60% of your players are black or bronze, then 60% of your coaches should be bronze. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So those are the numbers in college, 12 of 131. In the NFL, there are 3 of 31, which is about 10%. In the NBA, there are 15 of 30, which is great. But, I would attribute that as more justified, or I would say that that's even more justified because the NBA, compared to like the NFL, which is 60-70% bronze players, the NBA is like probably 80 or 90%.
Yeah.
So yes,
that way.
50% of the coaching should be the bare minimum You know what I mean? If 100% of your players are bronze, then bare minimum you should have 50% of the coaches
Yeah.
be bronze. But yeah,
How
that's
come
my
we don't
take.
talk about that enough? That's something we should talk about, is something like that, because I guess I can see where it would be. I can see it on both ends. I see him making an individual move that could benefit many other people, like assistant coaches. But because if he didn't take that position, someone else was going to take that.
And probably
Someone
not a
else,
bronze man.
probably not a bronze man. And I feel a little bit conflicted about it, because I feel like I understand. I get it. I mean, maybe not a bronze man would have taken that position, but there are individual bronze people who I don't think it should just be left to an individual bronze person, even if they're a celebrity or, I mean, I think you have a platform and you should be responsible about it. I feel like he is being as responsible as he can about it, but um it's like we need our resources, but until we have our own league of something, until something like that is, no matter what HBIC, no matter who we are working for, we are still not even really doing it for us. But I think the representation made a difference at the Jackson State University. I feel like representation matters, because I mean, yeah, I don't know much about the sport, so
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
what about you, LJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately it's a good move for bronze community coaching staff, because like you were saying, you know, he's going to go over there with his own staff. You know, he's going to go over there maybe 10, 20 bronze coaching and staff members, trainers, etc., that are with his program. And that's a good thing, because like you said, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Like that opportunity is going to open the door for all those other coaches to get more responsibility and other opportunities. So that's ultimately what we do it for. He did a great job bringing light to that school, making them a program worth paying attention to, getting the number one recruited athlete to leave from the traditional farm system of going to Alabama, Ohio State, these big Michigan, all that type of stuff, to going to a HBCU. That's power. You know, that's
powerful.
Yeah, there's a lot of influences, a lot of leverage that comes with that, and I think it speaks a lot to who he is. Now, I don't think the money matters. A guy like him doesn't matter about the money. I don't think it does. He ultimately turned that whole program around, brought more attention to HBCUs, and they went undefeated, 12-0. I mean, if this person was not who he was, this guy would be like getting offered NFL positions. Trust me.
Yeah.
If this was Chip Kelly or anybody like that, it would be different, you know. So I think it's great for him to go over there and then show how great he is as a coach. And I just read this headline earlier today that he's taking his son with him. So his son can transfer and be the quarterback at that school. So I think, you know, he's also putting his son in position to be top drafted prospect, you know, which I love. It's like he's very methodical. I completely believe in whatever he's trying to do, and I'm gonna support him. With Jackson State being, you know, needing a new staff, I think they're gonna have better coaches, because now the bar's up. You know, like
that's what I was wondering too. Are they going to replace him with another bronze coach who is just going to be just as effective? You know what I mean? Because I think a part of it, okay, he's taken this position, which is still a win for bronze people. But I just think, like what Chris was saying, the percentage of our head coaches and the people who are up there managing these players, we don't have enough representation for us. The problem is that we should have more of that representation, so it doesn't feel like we're sparse, like we're just taking our few good talents, because we do have a lot of people who could actually be in this mentor role that he's in, doing this and creating this. So I hope that we could get more of that representation for schools like Jackson State, and still not have to feel like we're losing out on something, because I see it on both ends. I know though they're probably not feeling some kind of way like that, but I know they're probably a little bit saddened, happy that
for
he's
sure.
They're probably super sad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
no,
I
for
was
sure.
trying to make it nice.
For sure.
Yeah.
They're probably
You know.
super sad, but I mean, I also think with that, like, they're gonna have to the opportunities, like other coaches are gonna want to step in and
Yep.
do as great as he did. You know,
Yeah.
Yep,
like going undefeated, that's a tough one to copy. You know what I mean? But
it is.
Yeah.
to have a coach that wants to come in and reach that level, you know,
Yeah.
it's like the pool of coaches to pick from for Jackson State has just gotten a lot bigger.
Yeah,
You know what I
100%.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. My only drawback on the whole prime time label is that I wish he would have stuck around long enough to get Jackson State to a major bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
See, but I don't think that's possible, because they're not even in the same. You know, Jackson State is a part of the FCS as opposed to the FBS.
Yeah.
So as far as a major bowl game, that's not possible as far as I know.
I see what
I
you're
mean,
saying. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because you know Jackson State is not only in the FCS, but FC. So there's D1, there's D1 ball, but then there's D1 double A. D1 is the USCs, the UCLAs, et cetera, Stanfords, et cetera. The FCS is the double A, so the smaller schools. And so them getting a bowl game on the level as USC is not even possible, because they're not in the same division.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so yeah, with that,
So he took Jackson State as far as they
As far
could
as
go.
they could go. Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking.
Which is a great accomplishment.
yeah.
It
a great
is.
To the backlash, I feel like anytime we do something against the grain, we usually get initial heat for it. You know, like people want to judge it, and then they
Right, like no one else has to get the backlash. We do, because we're and it's from our people, because people feel like, oh, you should have done this.
Well, we want you to do this forever. We just want you to be.
We all have an accountability and a responsibility to take for representation, whether big or
prime time doesn't prove he proves that this is not a fluke. For people that look at him like, oh, well, he's just over there winning games, and it's not that serious. No, okay, I'm gonna come over here now, and I'm gonna win a bunch of games, and I'm gonna make sure that y'all know that I'm that guy. You know, which is what he's been about since as long as we've known it. You know, Florida State, Niners, Cowboys. This dude played in the Super Bowl and a World Series in the same season. This guy is the epitome of like, I can do all things through Christ.
This
is done all. And this is just something I found out, and I don't know if you know this, Chris, but him and Brett Favre got drafted to the same team.
That's super interesting. What team was that?
Falcons.
That's super interesting. It's even more interesting because a post that I was reading late last night. I wish I had the post in front of me, but it essentially said like, okay, because Jackson State is in Mississippi. Mm-hmm. He said people are more mad about Deion Sanders leaving Jackson State than they are about Brett Favre jacking that whole state of their money. Like, you know, which is powerful because it's absolutely right. You know what I mean? Like that Brett Favre story has been swept effectively under the rug.
Right.
Nobody's talking about it.
It's down. It's 6 feet under.
Honestly.
It is.
You know what I mean?
There's still people trying to bring that up, but and that's what I mean. How do we put this backlash out, and this is an accomplishment that he's making, and I really hope that he opens the door even more for us. I hope that this move.
It's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, it is.
Like this is going to open. This is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just looking at it fundamentally or logically, Jackson State is a historically black college. They're going to have a black coach replace it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This is a good thing because, you know, Jackson State's always gonna have a black staff, black coaches, etc.
That support, yeah.
This this University of Colorado hiring gets us in that door that we can get our foot in that door and then bust that bitch wide open to get even more people, from our community in there.
And I'm sure the players there, the bronze players there, really appreciate that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
Especially even
100%.
more so in that type of environment.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Jackson State ain't going nowhere, but
it's not.
But we do have other places that we need to go and make our mark. So this does that. This does that
so
for
well
us.
Said, Chris. That's well said. Yeah.
Especially when you consider the NFL. I think the NFL is the end goal for Deion, and it should be, because like we just said, they only have 3 head coaches that are bronze men of 31. Is it 31 or 32? I think it's 32. It's 32. 3 of 32. So, that's under 10%. And that's not okay.
That's not okay.
So he's going to turn Colorado's program around. He's going to get a head coaching offer on the NFL level, and that'll give us 4 coaches in the NFL. And then this is a ripple that's going to create a wave sooner than later.
Yeah, I feel like he has.
Not to cut you, George. You got to look.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
10 years from now, this moment right now, 10 years from now, changes the whole landscape of college sports. You know what I mean? And that is really what it's about, because the next generation of sports is going to look so different. We got to realize that Deion Sanders came in to be a coach at the same time that players were getting paid. The NIL rules were now name, image, and likeness, where the players can get compensated for who they are. He's got his son. He's got his son, who I think his name is Shedeur.
I think Shedeur.
Yeah, that he got a sponsorship while he was at Jackson State. They all got sponsorships, name, image, likeness type stuff. So, he's even going to be able to coach these other players on how you run this game. How do you do this? How do you reach out to these people? This stuff you want to focus on. You want to be a star. You want to get a Nike commercial. You got to at least average this much and this much. There's a whole different his career that he understands too, that he's going to be able to educate all of us on. Because this whole thing is brand new. I think he's going to be somebody that ushers in how it works. And believe me when I say it, we need somebody like us making the rules for how this is going to work. Because if somebody else makes the rules, it's going to look a lot like how it did, where they're getting all the money and we just get free pizza and ice cream. You feel me?
I agree.
And so it's like it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to
I agree.
Deion Sanders. And I feel like we are very blessed to have somebody of his stature, with his level of confidence and his understanding of things, to take the responsibility to do this, because he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
I agree. That was well said.
On broadcast about football, which is what people would probably rather he do. Talk about plays and stuff. He took it to another level.
Yeah. This is a true position of power. So
okay, the Bronze Room have spoken. Y'all need to talk more about our prevalence in sports and things like this. I actually feel like this is a good eye-opening conversation. I didn't even know about the percentage of us in those head positions. Even though it's not surprising, it's important to know, because it matters as far as influence goes. As far as it goes with having being an ambassador for these brands and stuff like that, where can we expand ourselves in our benefit when it comes to these things? So yeah.
100%. Speaking of powerful bronze men in positions of influence and power, we did want to shed some light on the post-game news conference that LeBron James gave earlier last week. In this post-game conference, he spoke up. He spoke up on the Kyrie Irving situation and the difference that he saw between the media's coverage of Kyrie Irving's, uh, you know, backlash and the lack of backlash that NFL Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has been receiving from the surfacing or resurfacing of a photo that was taken in 1957 that shows him a part of a crowd that was harassing Black students who were integrating into his high school. And yeah, we have a clip apparently. So if we could show that clip, that would be amazing to catch or to speed.
Yeah, he checked their ass politely.
I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask questions about that.
Hold on. And I don't even want you guys to say anything. When I watch Kyrie talk and he says, I know who I am, I want to keep the same energy when we're talking about my people and the things that we've been through. And that Jerry Jones
photo is one of those moments that our people, Black people, have been through America. It seems like to me that the whole Jerry Jones situation photo, and I know it was years and years ago and we all make mistakes, I get it. But it seemed like it's just been buried under like, oh, it happened. Okay, we just move on. And I was kind of disappointed that I haven't received that question from you guys.
Right. Let's clap it up for that man, bringing some.
As a fan of Sean Taylor, when you say, "Hey, we're gonna,"
Yeah, that brings a spotlight onto the hypocrisy. You know, if it's one thing that really like grinds my gears, it's hypocrisy. You know, one thing about other countries that Americans tend to shit on, that are communist or oppressive or tyrannical, at least they tell you who they are. You know what I mean? That's not to make it right. Let me turn my mic up. Sorry, that's not to make it right. But at least like they're not fooling you. Hypocrisy, you know what I mean? Like is the biggest thing that Jesus was against. You know what I mean? I'm a man of the Bible. So like he didn't deal with the Sadducees and the Pharisees because like they were saying one thing but doing the other behind closed doors. You know what I mean? I can respect a man that tells me he's a killer and is killing. I can't respect a man that tells me he's a saint and is killing people behind their back. I can't.
Yeah, and then throwing stones at other people and calling them killers. I think that's a lot of what it is too.
Yeah, that's
people are literally speaking their truth, and you have the nerve to throw all these stones. Meanwhile, we got a whole list of receipts of even your people that have mistreated us, abused us. We can go on and on and on, and people are pulling out receipts. And I'm happy LeBron stated it. He said, I'm going to use my platform. We do need that because we have, as a people, they don't care about what we have to say, no matter how powerful it is. It takes a person of influence who is influencing the people to say something. And that's we, the people, have those questions. That's not the only question I have. I got a lot of questions. We got a lot of questions. LeBron was actually really easy on their ass.
He was.
He was real graceful. I'm like, do you know how much shit you could bring up?
He
literally
got up in their ass.
Like, he could have dug all up in there because he just mentioned that one item, that one thing. And the funny thing about it, I'm glad he said hush, because what I noticed with these clear reporters and journalists like to do, they don't even let you finish your question or speaking. I've seen many of these debates. They don't even let you finish before they have the answer. No, you don't have no fucking answer to this unless you say, yeah, because we're wrong and we're willing to do whatever it takes to show that we apologize. We're wrong. We won't never bring up nothing about what y'all have to say about y'all truth because we've killed y'all, did this, and that. LeBron could have had a whole list of receipts, but I feel like just that one little question alone, put their ass on notice, but it's not enough notice. We need people to continue to use the platform, because the more that we support each other and show up in numbers, it divides them. They want us divided. They like that Shaq and Charles, oh, goofy coon asses, was calling him an idiot. And I'm like, who gave y'all that script? Because we don't even say that. We don't even use those words. People like, oh, you stupid as fuck. We say other slang shit. We don't use those words. So I already know what they were saying was scripted by the very same people that kill us and try to throw the stones. So yeah, I just, what y'all think is like, y'all think they gonna try and punish LeBron for this? Punish him and give him a list of
if they were going to
apologies?
punish him, it would have happened already, at least publicly. You know, now they might be doing some shit behind closed doors to punish him, but
Yeah.
But in terms of public, for one, he didn't do anything. But of course, you could say that for Kyrie.
I mean, Kyrie didn't do nothing.
You could say that for a lot of different people, but nah, I don't see them punishing him, for one, because he is the spokesman of the NBA. He's like they could do that to Kyrie because Kyrie, relatively speaking, doesn't have that level of power.
Like we were saying, that influence.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not touching LeBron. And the sooner that he realizes that and realizes that he can really do what he feels is right without fear of backlash or punishment or whatever,
Right.
the sooner the community will all benefit from it, because we're benefiting
Right.
from him.
We just need to take our coins
you know?
and move on. Take our coins, take our talent, take our energy, take our economics, take our ideas. And I really hope that this sets a fucking domino effect for other bronze men and women to use their platform to bring these things to awareness. I didn't even know about what he was talking about before, so I'm sure people had to look up that amongst the long list of long laundry list of offenses that have happened. But yeah, I feel like when you know your power, when you know your, because all he got to do is say, I quit. Who the fuck y'all gonna find?
Right, exactly.
Who y'all ain't replacing nobody. Even your best clear person ain't shitting on the shittiest bronze person
Now, I mean,
ever.
now he is in his 20th year, so he ain't got too much longer. They could move on from him, but you know, I don't think they will, because they can still profit off of him.
You know what you said? That's right, because they can profit.
They can profit off of him.
Even Steph Curry, the biggest draws. I'd say Kevin Durant too, but he's been losing. But still, LeBron is LeBron.
Yeah, yeah. Kevin Durant doesn't have the personality or the likability that LeBron has. Although LeBron is very polarizing for some reason. I don't know why, but people really hate that man. I don't know why.
He's so good.
I've had several conversations as of late with people who was like, yeah, LeBron. And it was like, oh, I can't stand him. I was like, damn, for real? I mean, and because they say he flops and stuff like that. And I mean,
but people are going to be who they are. Like you know what I mean? No one's perfect. I mean, I guess I
mean, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The important part of this story is that he's speaking up and he's bringing light to the fact that there is so much hypocrisy in the media between people that are on their good list and people that are on their bad list. Jerry Jones is on the good list. You know what I mean? Kyrie Irving is on the bad list. These are men that essentially, if you can call Kyrie guilty, they're guilty of the same thing. You know what I mean? If you want to say Kyrie is guilty of anti-Semitism, then you have to say that Jerry Jones is guilty of anti-blackness or racism.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there was absolutely no attention shed on that. They gave Jerry Jones a small little post-practice interview where they pressed him on it, and he weaseled his way out of the questioning.
That's what I'm saying. They really giving taps on the. You didn't even know about this,
right? You know, and I mean, it's
this stuff.
It's
who found that picture and was like, "Yo, is that
right?" Because people don't forget the way you made them feel. You can move on, you can bring up a big ass legacy, and you can try and clean your shit up, but who you are is always going to come to the forefront. You can bleach them draws all you want. We gonna see that motherfucking, we still gonna see that little light shit stain in them draws.
It's a great
Okay,
analogy.
maybe not the best, but I'm just
That's a
saying,
great
you know,
analogy.
you can't
It
clean,
really
you know
is.
what I'm saying? And then you're gonna try and throw stones. Do you understand that people? Do you understand that people are finding out their history? You can't throw these stones no more and make us feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad. It takes a lot of courage. I don't care what anybody says, whether you like LeBron or not. I would have respect for anyone. If you're using a platform and you are that big and you're using your platform for that, even Candace Owens, when she used her platform, I'm like, okay, I'm happy that you're using your platform for something really constructive to bring awareness to this. You know what I mean? So, and the way he said it was so eloquent. I just love it because we always have to have this tact and this and be very strategical in how we say things so that we don't offend the world and the world can say whatever they want to say to us. And it's like, well, no, they can outright say, I hate black people, I hate niggers. And we'll be like, but they just said that. All I said is I don't want to be disliked for being bronze. And they'll be like, oh, so you're against this and you're anti what?
Mhm.
And so I'm happy that even though it's very obvious, I'm happy that he brought it out. He brought that up because I want to know what everybody else. So what was y'all answers? You know, like what? So y'all got an answer for that while y'all asking the questions. Let's ask y'all motherfucking question. We don't never get to ask y'all questions. When we start asking y'all questions, y'all keep saying that we're the ones that keep bringing racism up.
Right.
We're bringing racism up, but the shit's just happening. So yeah, I hope to see more of that because it's just going to make people get more riled up. We need nationalism amongst our culture. You know what I'm saying? We need to get that we don't give a damn, we don't give a fuck type attitude.
Like if you buck,
Yeah, nuck if you buck, because the thing is, if he has enough people
that's a little
beside
too much.
him, you know what I'm saying? This is like you were saying, Chris, how people are like, oh, you know, some people don't really care for him. Well, this is the time it doesn't matter where we have solidarity, because this is the point where we have all this common. This is the common factor, is that we're all being mistreated. I don't care if you think you're a Moor, you think you're a Hebrew, you think that you're a tech guy, you think it doesn't matter. The commonality is that we're being abused by a group of individuals who are taking advantage of it. And we all feel the fucking same way about that, no matter how different our background is as bronze people.
That is right. That is right.
Yeah.
Jones, you know, hopefully, you know, he old as fuck, so hopefully he on his way out anyway. But yeah, hopefully
I hope he lives and his death, those is the last images that he sees. I don't want him to feel no comfort, no love.
The students that he was harassing
Yeah,
that
I
day.
want his ass. I want them to hunt his ass. Sorry.
No, that's dope. I want to say also, LeBron is very active in speaking about things that have happened throughout his career. You know, when he was
Yeah, he is.
I Can't Breathe shirts, and he was wearing those in the layup lines. I think even when George Floyd happened, you know, they went to LeBron to say, how can we amend this? What can we do to, you know, one, make sure y'all niggas keep playing. And
right. First and foremost, can we get you guys to keep playing, please?
Yeah,
right.
Sure. You know, even though it's a pandemic and it's supposed to be all this other stuff, we still need y'all niggas to play because ain't nobody doing nothing but watching TV. But that's right. He still brings eyes to some of the issues that we're going through. You know, in the way that he can. You know, like I think he's very involved with the contract game. You know, he has a lot of partnerships. He's responsible for a lot of brands and all this stuff. So he only does as much as I feel like he feels like he can. But he does more than niggas will know.
Yeah, he's not like some self-proclaimed bronze leader. So the fact that he's taking the initiative to step into these positions, because again, you have people like big-headed ass Shaq, you have so much influence and you gon' act as dumb as you look. And it's like, really? You know, because I can't have no respect for that, because basically you just said fuck the black community pretty much, especially you calling that. I'm just offended by that. It's like, You know what I mean? And even, I mean, I don't want to digress, but even with that, they were saying how they don't even show Kyrie's highlights as much anymore. They're just not really even, he's playing, but they're really not even giving him that
They don't
respect.
say his name on the lineup. Just be like, number 2.
It's disgusting, you know what I'm saying?
Go
But
ahead,
things like
sorry,
that
what?
make a difference. Because imagine if they said something different, if Charles and Shaq were like, you know, this man was speaking his truth.
Well, and that's
You
why they
didn't even have
didn't.
to go, you didn't even have to agree with him. You could just say he was speaking his truth. What did he say what did he say? We don't even know what he said.
And
I'm still,
that's why they didn't. They didn't say it because they are. Although you could argue that they're not expendable, I would argue that they are expendable. You know?
yeah, that's why
they
he do
didn't
all
want to
them general
lose.
insurance commercials.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose those
1000% they
sponsorships
can
and
be
endorsements.
any moment. People don't,
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
People ain't rocking with the culture right now. Is not
They
care about Shaq and Charles Barkley.
They
Like,
don't. They don't.
Yeah. Are you talking about? You're talking about our community.
I'm talking about people who
Yeah.
watch sports. People who watch basketball.
I see, and that's where I'm going to argue because TNT. I don't know what the show's called, but TNT is a major. It's a major platform for the NBA. You know what I mean? And the reason why it is because of Shaq and because of Charles Barkley. So that's why I'm like, maybe they.
Okay.
You know, I feel like they are expendable, but they're kind of not. But I mean, now that ship has already been built, they can replace those cogs. That's what
what-
Shaq
Okay.
and
Yeah.
their
We can
cogs. They
replace those
built
guys.
it. They
Yeah.
did build it. You know what I mean? But now that it's already built, they could probably get rid of them, bring in somebody else. And Shaq and Charles Barkley, they know that, and that's why they kept their mouth shut.
Okay, so let me give y'all some numbers real quick. When they first started, when they were building this thing, right? Charles Barkley made $2 million a year. Shaq made $2 million a year. Kenny made $2 million a year. Ernie, the white guy, made $20 million a year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, bro, you can look it up. So just think about it. He's not expendable. They can't get rid of him. He's the producer of that show. They don't get rid of him.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Throughout the
makes
whole
sense,
time, they've had special guests on there. They've had celebrities on there. They have other people that do guest hosts. They had D Wade on there. They're trying these people out. Well, how they look on here? They had Chris Webber on there. How do these people look? How if one of these people
their
started,
numbers?
we could refer to.
So it's only a matter of time or a matter of fuck up. Mm-hmm.
That's the new game. I think that's just the industry game. If you are not playing if you're retired and you have some type of old legacy about you, you could be a broadcaster. That's anywhere. You could be on CBS, you could be on TNT, you could be on ESPN. So that's the game.
I mean, they did make headways in their careers when they
built that. I'm not taking that away from them. They did build that. And I think they built it, and now they say, okay, we have this show that people are going to watch no matter who's in the seat, as long as Ernie's in the seat.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? This reminds me of homie that he's on ESPN a lot with Stephen A. and Max and all them. But he's been speaking out about what's his name? Not Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose I like Jalen Rose, but he's bald, and him and Stephen A. they go back and forth sometimes.
Jay Williams.
Jay Williams, exactly. Yeah. Jay Williams. He was speaking out in defense of Kyrie.
Oh. Okay.
He was speaking up in defense of last year. He was speaking up in defense of Kyrie last year when Kyrie was going up against the vaccine mandates, and he was also speaking up on behalf of Kyrie in this latest scandal, if you can call it that. And so, he done broke the chains off. He, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't care. I love
that.
And I think they still have him on there, which is great. So, but yeah, it's rare. It's rare to see an example like that, which is unfortunate. But like we said, with LeBron doing this, I think that's only kicking the door open for other people to feel emboldened and courageous enough to say their own, to speak their piece as well.
I agree.
You know,
I hope it continues, like
yeah.
with other people who have that kind of platform.
Me too. And you know, I'll say this one last little bit about the recent news. Floyd Mayweather is talking about buying a NBA team.
He better keep that shit under wraps. But
yeah. No, it's out there already. I heard about it late last night. He's talking about picking up the Seattle franchise that once upon a time was the Supersonics.
Wow.
Or he's also talking about creating a franchise in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is popping.
Oh,
you know, they got the Raiders, they got the hockey team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the Raiders is going up over there. They're building a lot of new developments where the Raiders are like they have a hotel that's just designated for them, and all Raiders like they're really building developments. It's gonna go up, you know, and we need that.
Because how much money do you think it costs to have a casino?
Stupid amounts of money. In Vegas, it depends on how big the casino is, but I would say like a Caesar's Palace, Bellagio, etc. You got to have it probably at least, in my mind, at least 10 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this: with that, do you think Mayweather could have his own casino?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially if it's not at the same scale as those at Caesar's Palace and Block. Like if you got like a 5-table casino, you don't need that much money. You don't need as much money to like pay the gamblers if they fucking run the house.
Yeah.
But the bigger the house, the bigger the money.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I was wondering what y'all think.
Yeah, I mean,
like I feel like that is aligned with who he is, you know, as someone who spends a lot of money and stuff. But I do like the basketball team move also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because as of right now, we only have one owner in the NBA, and that's Michael Jordan. Who, and I want to bring this up, and you know, I don't even want to throw shade his way at all. You know what I'm saying? That's the greatest of all time. But his silence on all these issues is loud as fuck.
He's always
loud as fuck.
Like, is he alive?
He alive.
No, seriously, you don't never hear this man on any of those. I mean, seriously, ever.
Yeah, you know,
ever.
And that's because he's playing the game. You know what I mean? If you want to succeed, that is the old game plan. Just shut the fuck up and
succeed in their world.
You know what I mean? Yeah, well, exactly. And that's why I say succeed. You know
right.
What I mean? Air quotes, succeed.
Right.
Yeah, but his silence is loud as fuck, man.
It is.
And unlike LeBron, because all these superstars, they have the option of not saying anything and just, you know, not bringing any.
Like most of them do.
Yeah, most of them do. Most of them do. So that's why, you know, I got to give an extra applause for LeBron because he could very easily just shut the fuck up and.
He was courageous. I say that like not lightly. That took courage.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
and we need more like him and more on the way because we got thousands. Like we got tens of thousands.
Yeah, I love that truth. I mean, and even though Kanye be getting on my motherfucking nerves, I will say this.
Kanye is.
He did open though a can of worms. And now people are doing research. People are looking into the injustices that have done by the very people that are throwing the stones at us. But I just say that to say in general, I love that bronze men with the platform are speaking up. And I would love to see some more bronze women speak up too. I have been seeing some bronze women speak up, but I mean, I don't have any clips that I've seen of any bronze women with the big platform saying, hey. And I think that it would actually be a good representation to see just as many bronze women speaking up too. We need the support on both ends.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of that either. There's no shortage of that. Now you could argue that they just don't have as big of platforms as LeBron.
That's why I said I probably haven't seen the clips. I know that there's smaller influential women, but still with a big platform who are saying things about this.
Yeah, for sure.
Well. Yeah.
For sure. There's no shortage in our community of
That's right.
pioneers, vocal people who are speaking
That's
up,
right.
using their voices. There's no shortage of that. There's
Right.
no shortage of that. There's a Bible verse that talks about where it's one of the prophets, and he's like, you know, this is during the time of where the Israelites were being subjugated by the outside nations, and he was like, you know, I think he was arguing with God. He's like, God, it's all. I'm like the only one out here that's fighting for you, and God was like, there's thousands of us. Shut the fuck up. There's thousands of us. And so, and hey, you might think it's only one here and two. Nah, we got thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands that are doing the good work, and that's only going to increase.
Yeah,
so
I love that. You know what?
We just gonna keep at it like the vibe of the week. We just gonna keep putting one foot in front of the other. And
Chris, you might be leading a nation soon.
We only getting, our speed is only picking up.
Yeah.
It's only picking up.
We are picking up. Like we're catching on. That's what I'm saying. People are doing their research and looking into these type of things. We're not playing any games anymore. And so I'm really I'm happy that people are using their platform. I know as long as we have this platform, I'm going to use it to uplift us and bring us together and bring awareness to these type of things.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Bronny. Thank you, Savannah, for being a good wife and supporting that man, making sure he eating his meals so he can concentrate and use that brain energy.
Right.
I'm telling you, that woman is powerful behind him. That's another side note, but I can just feel that energy, that grace, and yeah.
It's all a credit to the stability of a bronze home.
Yeah, these things go down in history. This ain't gonna go in a textbook, but this is textbook worthy. You know, our people speaking out, because these are things that they've always wanted us to keep quiet about. We don't know about the slave masters getting their fucking head chopped off and them putting the nutsack in the slave owner's mouth and stuff. We don't know all about that because they don't want us to know that we did rebel, that we did say something, that we did stand up. They want it to look like we were just docile the way some people act. But with us saying things, it's like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, your biggest influencer feels like this about you, Chad.
I love it. So one of our last segments today is going to be on a clip that was shared and went viral last week. I think it was last week. It's Trevor Noah speaking on something that is an issue in our community.
Oh God!
It's an issue of a lack, and that lack is of emotion, of intimacy, of being just in touch with our, with our mental and emotional well-being. And if we have that clip, can we bring it up?
People don't realize how often men are experiencing a lack of intimacy. And the only way that they can experience that intimacy is through sex.
I agree. And I think mainly it's black men, because I feel like the black culture has this whole idea of being homophobic. Because I've got a white friend, they tell each other, I love you. I love you. Be safe. And you get in these situations where, there's so much homophobia with the black community that you can't just tell your homeboy, I love you. What you mean you love me?
I love you, granddad. Give me a hug, man.
Oh, man, get on with me here, because I brought you some damn shit. Nigga, you are crazy as hell.
I can't get a hug.
Nigga, you don't be hugging on no player, nigga.
And I think
you
sometimes
you don't hug a player?
We don't really like to open up, and we suffer from a lot of traumatic things.
Even if you look at the situation with August Alsina talking about love and all these things, and then you see him hug a man,
and they automatically think,
and they automatically assume
that was the way he wrote
gay.
It's definitely something that requires some type of therapy, and we got to start communicating amongst each other. But I think it's slowly starting to wash in a little bit, because I tell BT I love him, and I tell BT be safe. So it happens. And I've never done that before.
This is there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot to unpack.
It is. It ain't gonna happen in one Bronze Room episode, but we can touch on it.
Yeah. let's speak on the August Alsina thing, just real quick. Now, when I saw that, I was under the impression that that was his way of coming out of the closet.
Me too.
Is that not?
To me, it was a different level of intimacy.
I mean, the fact that he did it like a whole press conference is like, why? If this is just your homie, it's like, yeah, this is my boy over here. You know, like, he made a whole thing, like, you know,
right.
I think he's trying to have a way to open that up. That he is. To be honest with you, before he messed around with Jada, some women we can pick up on that vibe from men.
Okay.
And you know, they call it gaydar, but I knew he was. Without him saying it directly, it's very evident. I was surprised that he was in a relationship with women because I always got that vibe from him. I wasn't surprised when he said it.
Yeah.
I do think it's a different level of intimacy though that he's talking about. And I think that out of most cultures, Black men are the least to show the affection, but I do see the affection shown amongst Black men. I just think that you guys, society puts you under this microscope of being this tough guy, being bad. They put this fake shit about you being thugs, about being hard, and it's a misrepresentation that's going around. Black men actually do love each other more than what society puts out, but I do 100%. Think that society also pressures the separation as well. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, okay, he showed love, and I think it also comes from more so of the older generation of men, bronze men, feeling like that because of things that their fathers or grandfathers went through from slave masters.
Well, let's get into that. You know, in my opinion, at least in the community that I grew up in, I don't agree with this take that, you know, our community suffers from a lack of male intimacy. You know what I mean? The peers around me growing up, although it wasn't on some like over affectionate stuff, there was no like fear, at least for me. I can only speak as an individual. I've never been afraid to, you know, dap up my boy or show love. You know what I mean? As far as hugging and stuff like that, like this August Alsina shit, you know, that's a little far, and maybe that is a bit of homophobia, maybe. But to me, it's just like that's not even in me to want to, you know, hug up on a player like that.
Or even he pronounced his love. No, he basically let the world know, hey, I'm in a relationship with this man, just in case y'all see us out hugging.
Yeah,
that was like a warm embrace.
Right. You know what I mean? And so if it's talking about straight up, do we have a problem with homophobia in our society? Okay, that's a different conversation. But as far as showing love to another straight male, I don't think that's
right, because
as
you
big of a
think that
deal
you're gonna
as
because you're gonna look homophobic. I don't feel that.
I don't think that either.
I see Black men embrace each other, give that infamous or even a head nod, like "What's up, brother?" Even the way you and LGZ's relationship is as brothers, I don't. It like a genuine loving brotherhood, but it doesn't. You can clearly separate that from what they try to say is the rhetoric of homophobia. I think that it's blend. I think that it somehow blends in because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is just from me being a Black woman having gay male friends. I think that there have also been men who have been on the DL.
Okay.
And maybe they felt out their friends. You get what I'm saying? Try to fill out their friends. Yeah. Fill out that relationship with their friend because they don't even know how to process that emotion of them being DL. You know what I mean? So I think that that's where the lines get blurred on that. But I've never felt like there was a severe issue with that. I think maybe amongst certain cultures like Jamaicans, because I have Jamaican friends, and in that culture, they're on the outward appearance, they're big on like, no, you can't do that. They're like, oh, that's gross, whatever. Like, but I've still never heard of them mention anything about the interaction amongst bronze men.
And that just points to the fact that, hey, we're not a monolith. You know, at the bronze community, it can be broken up into subcultures. And so, maybe in certain subcultures, that homophobic or intimacy between heterosexual males, maybe that does exist. But I would say in the general community, I think that's a false story. You know what I mean? Now, as far as our approach to homophobic or as our approach to homosexuality, maybe that you could say that does exist on a level of
and maybe even with father
homophobia.
and son. Maybe there are some bronze fathers who don't know how to show their bronze sons. Now, I could see that a father and a son relationship more so than
I could see that as well. And in order to break that down more effectively or more accurately, you would have to go into the trauma that our community has suffered. The trauma specifically that I'm alluding to is the high incarceration rate. You know what I mean? Where homophobia definitely is a thing behind closed behind bars. You know what I mean? Because shit, it's people in there for life that might be trying to turn you out. So you got to be kind of homophobic in there, or else people are going to look at you as a sucker and they're going to try to take advantage of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when you come out from behind bars, you might have that same approach to your family, to your sons.
Right.
So that goes deep. That goes deep. That's a manufactured homophobia, if you will, because a lot of bronze men are thrown behind bars into those conditions without unjustifiably. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
When they were taking a lot of our fathers to prison during the 80s,
that 80s and 90s.
In the 80s and in the 90s, because of the crack epidemic that was going on, and a lot of people that were using drugs, and even people who were selling drugs, were getting these football numbers, going to jail. That started that whole thing of what you're talking about. That's just what I think, because I remember a time before, even the 50s and the 60s, leading into the 70s, Black bronze pride, togetherness was actually more like out in the open. It was more. We loved each other. I love my brother. I remember seeing murals when I was growing up. They would have a mural right down on Crenshaw, two bronze men like dapping it up. You know what I mean? But these are images that we put out there. That we do support each other and things like that.
Right.
I think when the bronze men started going to jail, and then they started seeing those things like you alluded to, then they come back and it's like, all right, when I was in jail, if you was crying, if you was emotional, if you was sensitive, you was getting raped. You was getting raped. Yeah, you couldn't show that type of love for nobody, or you were weak in this cell. So when I raise my child, they're not going to have these things about them, because that's not going to help you survive if they go to jail. It's like this weird thing. So I feel like as a community, we are getting out of it, but there still is that air about it, as we're getting out of it. You know what I mean? Because some things are like not that serious. You know what I mean? Like, when y'all folks came to my birthday function, like everybody there, like I love all y'all. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that moment to be able to spend time with y'all. It don't mean nothing other than that, and I really appreciate and love y'all for that. It's not like nothing other than that. But I think being able to say that is the thing that held people back for a long time. It's like like there used to be the saying, like if a man, the way a man compliments another man is by saying like some shit like, oh, okay, I see you, nice kicks. That's like how men compliment each other type
right.
Of, you know what I mean? Off of like on low level surface type shit. But like I said, I think we're all getting out of that. Just as a community.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I do feel like Black men do have a lack of intimacy, but it's not just mainly I don't think it's just solely amongst Black men. I think the intimacy factor just goes across the board. Do I think that bronze women could be more I'm not speaking for all of us. I know I'm very intimate in relationships. I think they mean the intimacy that goes beyond just a sexual level, being intimate with somebody, being able to confide in them with certain things. I just think that Black men's intimacy amongst each other is not understood because you guys aren't intimate in the same way that other cultures are. Like French white men, they'll kiss each other. They will do the they're intimate in that way. Maybe some people, they bring each other in close and they have deeper conversations. You and Chris might vent. Chris might be like, man, I had a rough day, but you know what? I'm good. I'm over it, bro. Let's play some video games. And that be your level of intimacy amongst your brother.
Right.
So I think it's just different the way Black men express their intimacy. Our intimacies happen in barbershops for Black men. You know what I'm saying? That's the intimacy. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Very real. Very real. Close quarters, confined areas, intimate settings.
Football game, barbecue, you with the family. Hey, brother, come over here and cook these ribs. That's we don't just trust anybody to cook our food. Don't nobody know that though. That's a level of intimacy. Huh?
Yeah.
You know, so I think that bronze men, y'all show your intimacy also in different ways. But I do think that I will say this. I feel very passionately that there does need to be some kind of outlet for bronze men to express their emotions.
100%.
Better. Like I don't feel like y'all have that. I feel like when you do, you have to apologize for it to whoever you're offending. And you shouldn't even be offending anyone. You should just be able to really, because you got to hold that in. And then when you don't do things, people are like, well, he doesn't talk about this. He doesn't do that. Well, because he can't.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, that alludes to a bigger problem on a societal level, not just within our community. When you talk about like the K through 12 system, I think a crazy number, like 95% of the teachers that you will have are women. You know what I mean? And so if you're being, disciplined in an environment that is very feminine, that's going to have a major influence on your conflict resolution skills, on your ability to express yourself. A male teacher might, let you and another student go at it for a little bit and settle it amongst yourselves, versus a woman teacher who might be like, no, break it up. You go to that corner, you go to that corner. I want you guys to come back and apologize to each other and hug it out or whatever. That's a societal issue.
Such a good insight.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And how do you solve that? I don't know. Get more male teachers in, which is that's definitely something.
I love the male influence. I loved all my male teachers. I remembered them just because they did teach differently. They did. It's a different kind of vibe, and I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say something to that. Jen is a school teacher, and it doesn't have a lot of bronze kids there, right? She told me about this one kid in particular, young bronze boy. He has a really big personality, very, very smart, and he's not easily. She says he's always acting out a lot. He's really smart. He already gets it, and his mom's really smart, so she trains him at home, whatever. And I asked her, what are y'all doing? Because there's not many bronze teachers there also. So I'm like, what are y'all doing to deal with this kid? And she's like, they put him on timeout. They tell him he's acting out. They have conversations with him like he's a grown ass adult.
Poor baby.
And I was like, how are there any other bronze male teachers there? She's like, no. I was like, okay, are there any other male teachers there? She says the only guy that's there is a gay guy. So I told her the issue is he doesn't see anyone like him that can check him. That's the issue. And it doesn't matter how many of you women talk to this boy, he's still looking at y'all like, y'all not my mama.
That baby needs somebody that looks like him.
He needs somebody that looks like him, that is a male that says,
Yeah.
little man, this is not good. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah.
Right.
This is how you act. And to your point, we do need more bronze male teachers, especially at that level. She teaches a 2 to 4-year-old. So at that level, very important, I think, very important. And I didn't even understand it. She explained it to me, like what was going on. And she was coming to me, telling me in a way where she didn't know what to do. Like, yeah, this kid, he just got all the teachers pissed off. And I'm like, well, let's think about it. Why is he like that? It's not, he's not a bad kid. He's just a kid. He don't even know what good and bad is. He's just a kid.
Yeah, male students, bronze male students, or bronze male children, they need bronze male role models.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and this goes back to the high incarceration or over incarceration thing.
Yeah,
that if this isn't already obvious, that has riddled our community with all types of issues. When you got a whole bunch of boys raising boys. You know what I mean? Like if everybody's fathers are incarcerated, then you're essentially teaching yourselves how to be a man. You know what I mean?
Your peers are teaching you,
and relying on your mother to teach you how to be a man. It's not going to work. It's a recipe for disaster, as we've seen over the past few decades. So, bronze male influence is extremely important. And on this subject that we originally started on affection or lack thereof, the issues all stem from a lack of a male presence in our community, of a free male influence. You know what I mean? Not somebody that's out the system. Because while you're in the penal system, that is definitely rewiring and reconstructing how you think and how you act.
Yeah,
it just is. You do not come out the same.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
You don't.
So
these
issues are definitely a result of what they've done to our community in terms of incarceration and
drugs.
And so if there is a problem that exists with intimacy and homophobia, we can definitely point towards that as one of the roots, one of the major roots.
And I think we can come back to it. Absolutely. Just us talking about it, you know what I'm saying? It does start with our youth, LJ, just you even having an insight to just be able to give that word to Jen and say, look, this might be why, because we need a bronze men's voice talking about these type of things. We want to hear your perspective. We shouldn't be speaking on behalf of our bronze men, and not talking about Jen. She's telling you what's going on, but even her as a bronze woman concerned, nobody else is even concerned like she is. You know what I'm saying? Because we know that whether we don't always know what the outcome is going to be, but we can tell by what's just happening to us as we're young. We've all went through these experiences. I do think that part of that lack of intimacy for bronze males is the bronze male presence, So I would agree with that. Aside from the fact that I think that it also brings up a little bit of resentment inside sometimes, that maybe you're not knowing. My brother grew up without having his father. His father passed away when he was really, really young. I remember my brother having a lot of resentment growing up, and he didn't even really know who to put it out towards. So it's like you want that affection, and your mom and your sister can give it to you, but there's also, you want the affection in a different way, the intimacy in a different way. Intimacy is not always I love you and come close to me. Like I was saying, bronze men share their intimacy in a different way than other people. So I wouldn't even doubt that he just needs that type of intimacy with a bronze male one-on-one, a teacher or somebody, a mentor, a tutor.
Now I do want to just ask you, Jen, from the bronze woman perspective, and let me rethink this over, because I don't want to come at you in front of everybody like this. But in terms of because in the video, homie was saying that that the only time that males can show intimacy is during sex or whatever. And I don't know if that's even true, because intimacy is more than just about sex, or clearly, that's obvious. But like, I think you said something in while we were discussing it earlier over the weekend, like that that intimacy with not only between male and male, but male and female. Do you feel like there's a lack of intimacy between how bronze men express themselves towards bronze women?
In some aspects, yeah, I do.
Comparative to other races?
Yeah, I do. Just because I've been really nurturing with bronze men, the bronze men that I've dated, and given intimacy on more than just a sexual level. For me, I got to be your friend in order to be with you. We literally have to be, we ain't got to be the best of friends. I ain't got to know your whole life and you know mine, but I need to at least be able to be there for you. I want you to feel comfortable talking to me about intimate things. Because for me, I'm an intellectual person, and I'm a sexual person. Sex is a bonus, but I really love somebody's mind. So for me, I've noticed that there have been bronze men that I've dated who have been a little bit more closed mentally when it comes to being intimate, and they want to go straight to whatever it is. And some of these people, because I'm just a natural type of healing person, I can feel already that you have something behind you. That's why I'm not quick to just be intimate, because I don't want to fucking take on all that damn baggage. I don't want you to put that inside of me. So I try to have an intimate, be intimate on a level of conversation, of a love language. What do you like to do? You want to play video games? You want to watch anime? What do you want to do? And you don't have to worry about me. What do you want to do to have fun? We can both do that. But I do notice it's more closed off. I notice that bronze men feel a little bit more comfortable doing those type of things with their guy friends, and will turn more, and this is just in my personal experience, will turn more to a bronze room or to a bronze woman for the sexual reasons.
Like only, so, not the other stuff. Generally speaking, is what you're saying. It's like if they
this is why I practice celibacy, because I would want somebody to want to be on that real intimate level aside from the physical level, because I know that you need more than just physical. You need somebody to like nurture you. Everybody needs somebody nurturing there. But when you don't want the nurturing aspect on that level, but you just want the body, and I feel like more bronze men can express it to us through that way. I feel like you have been suppressed verbally and mentally. So I do feel like you express it more so through that way. Because a bronze woman, there's bronze women like, oh yeah, he fucked me good, blah, blah, blah. But then he might start telling her like, man, I've been going through this at work and that. Nigga, shut up. Get over it. You strong. You got it. You good. So I feel like that's happened too. So it's like, well, I'm not about to talk to you about that. I'll keep that to myself, and I'll tell my homeboys about what I'm going through, because I don't want you to think I'm a weak man. Right. But I'm going to give you this dick.
Right. That's a real thing, and there's a lot of pressure on us to be these roles, and to be these roles that we have only seen from the outside. We may have not seen these in our own households, so we have to understand what it takes to create these roles. We have to understand what these roles really are. Growing up, my parents were divorced, and before I had a relationship with my father, my dad was Uncle Phil, for real, and it was Carl Winslow. You know what I'm saying? It's real shit, Mr. Cooper. You know what I mean? Because I just watched TV, and those were the connections I made.
Wow.
Growing up, there was people in gangs and stuff like that. So when I was really young, it's not like I was outside kicking it. You have like people who you're friends with, but even my friends, I remember when I played T-ball, and one of the friends that I had, when I remember going to his house, he didn't have a dad either. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine what that creates on a grand level. You know what I mean? So having these people as our role models, and we don't even know these people. Like we just think it is. Then as we get older, we change those role models. You know, speaking just more about my experience, you know, when I start to get into hip hop, because that was my outlet to understand that there's other people that can express what they're going through. Then it became my favorite rappers were my role model. Indeed, my role model. I need to be like this to be successful. Have a, you know, it's like all these images that I relied on to teach me things because I didn't have the real teacher in the room. You know what I mean? And even though I knew that I didn't have to be a gangster, I didn't have to be a thug, I didn't have to be these things. As I got older, these were the images that were more in my face, in my view, than the Uncle Phil. You know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it's a big role in a lot of things. So like now that I'm older, if I didn't have my actual father around to put me on a lot of game and stuff, you know, maybe I would have resorted to all these other things. I was like, I love Boosie, but you know, Boosie can't be my pops. You know what I'm saying? But if people, Boosie is a pops. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's what happens when we have these role models that aren't really people we know. And we think that we need to be like them because we admire them for whatever reason. And then we start to take on these traits that aren't really who we are. And we treat our women with these traits, you know, and it's not real. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I love that perspective. Thank you for sharing that, because I didn't even think about it like that either, about the role models that you do have showing you. And even that is limited because it leaves after the show is over.
Yeah. And that's all on the script. We don't even know these.
Right. Yeah, no, that's powerful, LJ. I couldn't have said it better myself, and you know, because I share that same experience. So, and many of us in the community do. So, I well said, bro. Well said. You know, we're gonna wrap things up, and we're gonna take it to the vibe of the week. Now I know that you, Miss Joy, and I have the same vibe of the week. So
we do.
So our vibe of the week for this week is gratitude. You know, this Christmas season, although I do not celebrate Christmas anymore, the general tone of Christmas is all about is all about giving, right, to those that you love, right? Because it is better to give than it is to receive, right? And to me, that is a reflection on gratitude. Because when you are grateful, it puts you you're grateful because you've been blessed, right? And when you've been blessed, you want to bless others. You know what I mean? That's what gratitude is all about. Gratitude is really a powerful position. It's a very powerful position to be in, because life is all about perspective. I could choose to gripe and complain about my position in life, or I can choose to be very grateful and thankful for the position in life I am. You choose. That's on each one of us. That's on you, LJ. That's on you, Miss Joy. That's on me. That's on everybody in our bronze community, all blacksmiths. You have the choice to flip your perspective. Either you're going to complain about your position or you're going to be grateful for it. And I choose the position of power. The position of complaining is a position of I don't want to say weakness, but it's not the most powerful position that you can be in. You know, when you're grateful for your surroundings, for your environment, for your possessions, for your job, for your health, for your able-bodiedness, you know, compared to like somebody that might be disabled, it puts you in a position to like utilize that of what you have. You know what I mean?
Exactly. You don't stay a victim.
Yeah, exactly. The lack of gratitude puts you into a state of victimhood. And so I feel super powerful going into this chapter. I don't know what marked the start of it, but as of late, I've just been feeling very grateful and very empowered to help other people improve their condition or their position in life. And that's what I'm going to be using this season to do. It's going to be a season of service for me, and it's going to be a service of gratitude. That service is going to be fueled by the gratitude.
Wow.
And I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited for the things I'm going to be doing, especially since I got a little time off now, that I can actually utilize my time and energy towards those things. So.
Wow. Well, you know, we support you in everything that you do, Bronze Man.
Appreciate you.
And I couldn't agree more. When I feel gratitude, I feel like the most powerful person in the world. I feel that way now. I wake up and I'm like, I'm here. I'm breathing. I'm warm. I have a place to live. I'd be happy that I got both my eyes. Do you know how happy I am to have two eyes? Seriously, I'm happy I can smell for my senses. And just having gratitude overall for life, it puts you, it raises your vibration. So it actually is good for your health. Blacksmiths, just in case y'all didn't know this, is good for your health. I've seen it help boost my health just waking up every single day. If you make it a lifestyle habit to just be grateful every morning, you will literally see yourself accumulate in abundance the things that you are grateful for. I have never seen my life turn backwards. I only keep getting more in every aspect of my life, whether it's big or small. No, I don't have millions of dollars in my bank account. Will the millions of dollars be there? Yeah, because I'm grateful for the 10,000 that I have now. I'm grateful for the 100,000 I have now. So it's nothing. When that thing comes, I'm already superbly grateful. You can't make me more grateful for $10,000 in my bank account than you can for 10 million, because it's just a way of living. But I would say complaining does make you weak. Yes, we have moments where we complain. Don't get me wrong. Like big and little things, there are certain things that can get under our skin, but if you can help it, do not. Instead of complaining about, okay, I got to work later at work. And this is something I taught myself, but I've read about this too. Like, I'm not going to be mad that I got to stay an hour later. I'm going to be grateful that I fucking have a job.
Yeah.
That I'm able to pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to buy that little fly dress from, I don't know, Fashion Nova or whatever next week when I get paid, because I work this OT, because I did whatever. Okay, I had to get up early. You know what? I got up though.
Yeah.
I got up. What the fuck? Because it's so many people not doing that.
Right. I hate to live in like a state of perpetual comparison. But even if it's hard for you to gain an appreciation for those things that you have, you can easily compare yourself to somebody who does not have those things. And a lot of times, like I talked to somebody that served in a mission or on a mission like effort out in Africa, and she was saying like those kids were so damn happy out there. They didn't have a fraction of what the hell we have out here, but they were happy. They were happy.
Genuinely happy.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Your happiness does not come from your possessions or what you have. It comes from your perspective on life. It comes from your heart. It comes from that gold that you got in this is your chest cavity is your safe. And the most valuable thing in your safe is that heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about being grateful for your position in life. And bronze room, blacksmiths, there's so much power to be had if you can just flip your perspective and turn on that attitude of gratitude. So much.
I totally agree. I feel like my gratitude brought me here to this point, meeting you. Well, I've been on LGZ, but just co-hosting with you, being in this extraordinary journey with y'all. I'm grateful for that. Sincerely, I wake up and I'm like, yes, Bronze Room.
Yeah.
And those type of things only grow those things. Whatever you're grateful for, y'all, a trick, if you just selfish about it, whatever you're grateful for grows. if you're
Right.
genuinely happy. And you know, I noticed that even if you're feeling down, sometimes I'll be feeling shitty. I've had a shitty day. Like I said, I'll turn it around by just acknowledging what I'm grateful for, and literally turns my whole mood around. Literally turns my whole mood around. And I'm like, okay, I was feeling crappy, but now I'm smiling. Now I'm feeling good. Now I'm feeling like, damn, I got all these things, had a bad day, but I just recognize everything that I have. What? Everything that I am. Even take away the possessions. I'm glad I got my family. So many people's families died, you know, recently during this. I'm happy I got my family. I'm happy I got 2 people I can text who say, hey, I was thinking about you.
Yes.
I'm happy for those 2 people. Forget what I don't have. Remember what I have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In this social media age, depression is on the rise, anxiety is on the rise, because we're perpetually comparing ourselves to other people's lives. But blacksmiths, please do better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do not have to compare yourself to other people in terms of what you don't have. You know what I mean? Don't look at somebody else's life and say like, oh man, I wish I had that, or I wish I had this. You have everything that God has blessed you with for a reason. You know what I mean? Like it's like the parable of the talents. You know, like he's going to give some people 5 talents, he's going to give some people 2 talents. But it's not about what you've been given, it's what you do with what you've been given. That's where the power lies.
Boy,
that's where the power lies. So, you know, this is a big theme for me, not
too.
only in this chapter of life, but you know, during some of the more significant moments of my life. Gratitude has been something that's propelled me past certain obstacles and hardships, almost to the point of getting emotional on this Bronze Room episode.
Listen, and you know what? It ain't nothing wrong with that. I told you I cry tears of joy every day. I told you before. I said I'd be sobbing. My eyes were swollen one time before I went to this event because I had cried so hard, just being grateful. Literally just realizing everything around me. I'm like, how am I outliving people? How am I still here? I'm like, how the hell am I still here like this? Okay. So listen, when a Black man cried those tears of joy, of gratitude, that's beautiful. You don't never have to hide that. It's good for our blacksmiths to see that. Like I see the gratitude in your face and it makes me thankful just to even see that. It's a beautiful thing. Just talking about it, look what it does.
Yeah, honestly.
Look what it does.
Honestly. So we're kicking off this week in gratitude, and blacksmiths, we want you to love you too. I love y'all, fam. And
we leaving with gratitude.
We're leaving and we're leading with gratitude, and let it propel you into the future and into your dreams and aspirations, and let's seize this power that's in front of us.
Wow. Yeah, that everything that he said, blacksmiths, and y'all hit us up and y'all let us know what you're grateful for. We're grateful for you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing up. Like we're real people giving you real energy, and so we appreciate you coming back. Let us know what you're grateful for. We're grateful for you.
Yeah, tap in with us, everybody. Blacksmiths, we need you to tap in. And we love y'all. Take care this week. We'll see you next week again here on the Bronze Room.